everyone. We are live here at SAIC Free Radio. Thanks for joining us. I am your host, Janet Lopez, and here I have with me our first guest for podcast Planeta Patineta, Marlen Aguirre. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. Glad we're finally doing this.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So I reached out to you because I wanted you to share your story about skating. For folks listening to us, Planeta Patineta is Spanish for Skate Planet, and this is a platform that is serving Chicago local skaters to share their stories, creative endeavors, and just to give listeners an insight a little bit about their life revolving around skate culture and other fun activities that they do outside of skating. So thanks for coming. How was your day? How's your weekend like? I know that you work full time, so how do you run like your week and weekend? Like, is it different? Do you skate every day? How was your day like today?
Well, so actually right now I am not working full time, but in the past I have worked, I've been skating for 20 years. So there's been a lot of squeezing skateboarding in between just like regular life. And I think for me, what I usually do is have my skateboard and my shoes in the trunk of my car. So sometimes I'll have errands and then squeeze like 30 minutes before work, go to work, and then skate after work. So there's a lot of that going on days when I have like time where I'm off. I do try to plan more of like a session, but it's always really like spontaneous and like random. But skateboarding's always been a constant for like 20 years of my life, so I don't know any different. So life is going to keep moving, but skateboarding's always going to be in there somehow. Yeah. I'll make the time because I have, not that I have to, but it's just what I know. So
yeah. So you would say that skateboarding has like taken over your life in a sense, like it's become a part of your life. Yeah.
I guess it's just, I wouldn't say like taken over, but I definitely would say that it's just very natural to me, like breathing and stuff. Like I'm always gonna like do it. I'm always gonna find the time to do it. So no matter what's going on in my life, there's always gonna be like skateboarding too. And I know that's always going to be a constant. So I don't know, it feels weird to think of it that way, but yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, it's so beautiful that now it's become like your lifestyle, right? So switching over to like, how was it that you started skating? Because I've known you since like 2012, and then we just like reconvened and started hanging out again. But yeah, I remember back in 2012, you were shredding, you were like killing the game. And it's nice to see that you're still really active in skateboarding, because I know a lot of the people that we knew skating back then have stopped skating. There's a lot of like new girls out here that are also killing it in the game. So tell us about like how you started skateboarding, why you started skating, and how I'll leave it at that, but also think about how has it changed, like the skateboard culture in Chicago? How was it then? How is it now? And has that impacted you?
Oh my God. So I can go on for like an hour just about this.
Tell us, go on.
But I want to say the skateboarding scene was like a lot smaller back then, very like tight, and a lot smaller. And I think now it has like expanded and gotten like bigger. But before, if there was somebody that was good living in St. Charles, they would know of the good skaters living in like the South Side, because it was so small. When there was somebody that was good, just like everybody would know everybody that was good. So it has changed in those ways too, because now there are a lot of people that are good, and I feel like sometimes there'll be people that don't know of each other. But that, I don't know, that's good that there's like more skateboarding. But to your first question of how I started skating, I actually started skating because my older brother started skating. And I remember he would invite his friends to come over to our house, and they would have like these like big sleepovers, and there was always this crazy energy the morning of when they were about to go skate. So they would sleep over, and then they would wake up and the house would be like bustling. They'd be like getting like these old milk jugs and filling them up with water so they can like take them with them, and then they would like be like setting up like a new deck or like boards and shit. They'd be like just like this energy of everybody like being excited to go out on an adventure, and then they would like leave and go and skate street, and nobody had cars at that time because they were like too young, but they would just like skate for like miles from like spot to spot. And I remember just being so jealous. Like I really wanted to be like a part of that. I'm like, I wish that was me. I wish that was me and my friends. So it just like took a while for my brother, because I told him like, oh, that's so cool that you skate. And he put together this like messed up board, this like tiny little like skateboard with like 2 different trucks, 2 different wheels, and kind of like showed me how to ollie. But then it took me a month to learn how to ollie, of just trying and trying. But I remember that feeling of like being excited every morning, like I want to land this, and like, I don't know, it was just like so like magical, I feel like, from the beginning. And it was just like nothing. It was like a shitty board. I didn't have any friends to skate with, but there was just like something about it that just got me like so excited. So that's how I started skating. And the culture then at the time for girls, there weren't that many girl skaters, but I grew up with Marissa Del Santo being like a couple of miles over, like living like pretty close to where I grew up. And I was just like, oh my God, like, I don't know, she was like so good. So at that time I knew that like my progress wasn't that good, that I wasn't a good skater, but I knew what was possible for like women in skateboarding, because that was an example, like a very real example of somebody like hitting handrails and like big stairs. And I think at that time too, Alexis Sablon came out in a video, PJ Ladd's Wonderful Horrible Life, and she was doing like crazy like street shit too. So I don't know, I think that really like impacted me, of just like knowing what was possible and stuff. But yeah, that was like my beginning to skateboarding. And it has always been like people skating with you and then like dropping off, and then like meeting other people and skating with them and it dropping. A lot of the times it's been me skating by myself too, because my brother was my older brother and didn't really want to skate with his little sister. So a lot of it was just me trying to like figure it out. And just, I don't know, I just like kept skating because I loved it.
And how old were you then?
I was 12 when I started
skating. You were 12.
Skating. Yeah. So it's amazing. Been a long time.
Yeah. And I know, from knowing you, I know you skate a lot of street. And I know, like, I think folks that I've met from your generation and your age bracket grew up skating a lot of street, because Chicago just recently started getting a lot of skate parks built. And even still now, it's like a struggle. But how, like, yeah, do you prefer street? Is there a reason why you skate a lot more street than like bowls or verts? Or talk about that.
That's what I fell in love with.
Yeah.
It was like so sick to just that, seeing my brother and just going out with his friends and going on a little adventure, and then getting like food after, and just like being in like different neighborhoods. Like that is really what I thought skateboarding was. And I remember for a time my brother wanted to start filming, and he would never let me skate with him, but one time he did invite me to like go, because he had a camera and he wanted to get a clip. And I remember having this like handheld like little camera and like going with him to like go and try to film some clips. And I don't know, I just like thought that's what skateboarding was. And even like the video premieres and the videos, it's like all like street footage. So that's just what I grew up on and what I saw, I guess, and what I thought was like peak skateboarding. It's like the most fun that you can have. And even to this day, I'm just like, it is just like fun just picking up friends and like checking out like spots, and like, I don't know, being in neighborhoods you wouldn't normally be in, and like noticing things you wouldn't normally notice. I just like think that's like so sick. I don't know. And I think it like, I don't know, like creatively it just makes you have to try to come up with a trick, because you came to skate that spot. So you're kind of like trying to figure out what you can do, and it like forces you to get like creative with what you have. So I think that's just like it excites me, and it like keeps me interested in skating. And I'm like, you have to feel like that every time you skate. I feel like to keep doing it, because otherwise, like, what's the point if it's for any other reason than to be excited and to hang out with your friends and to feel challenged. And I feel like that's what street skating gives to me, like keeping skateboarding like fresh and keeping it interesting and keeping it like hard, because skating street is hard. So I think it has all those components that like I gravitate towards. So I don't know, I love it.
Yeah. And then when did you decide like this is something that, like, did you ever give it up and then got back on, or like when did you decide like, no, this is something I want to do forever?
Oh my God, I had always this like crazy like, I don't know, just like weird identity shit with skateboarding, because I always felt like an outsider looking in, because I never felt like I truly had like a skate group of people like everybody else did. And like I skated all the time, but I never felt like I was like taken in by like a group like I saw many like kids or people that were like younger or older or like men in my life just get taken in by like this like skate crew of people, and then they like make videos together or shoot photos or they go on skate trips. Like I saw that happen for like everybody around me, and I just like kind of thought like, why hasn't that happened for me? Like why like when I was younger, I thought it would just happen. I'm like, when I get to high school, I'm gonna have all this like skate crew and we're gonna do this stuff, and then like that didn't happen. Or like maybe when I get a car and I'm like skating like different places, that's gonna happen, and it didn't. So it has been hard being a woman in skateboarding and not having like, damn, I even lost track of what the question was.
No, it's okay.
But my identity. Okay, here, I'm getting back on track. So yeah, my identity. So I always felt like I was a skater. I knew I was a skater. I knew I loved skateboarding, but I also didn't feel like I was part of like the culture, I guess, of what I thought that I wanted to do. It didn't happen. And it's not that I didn't try. I would try to like hit up people or try to like, but that just like, I don't know if it was because I was like a woman or but now I guess now that I'm older, I know that is like the reason why. And even to this day, sometimes it's hard. But yeah, I always had this like weird identity. So I never totally, I always saw myself as a skater, but since I never really fit in, I guess perfectly, and didn't have like a skate crew to skate with, I don't think I ever really like took upon that identity. And because I always knew that I kind of like had to have other interests and do something else in addition to skating, because skateboarding wasn't giving me like friendships, and you know what I mean? I wasn't like totally like, I guess, accepted, so I couldn't really have so much of an identity. But it was always like a constant. And now I'm kind of like not thankful, but I'm just like happy where I am now, because I'm like, that's what's kept me skating for so long, because I survived not having any survive sounds dramatic, but like it really is sometimes about surviving and like doing the thing that you love. I feel like that's why I'm able to like keep skating, even years when I don't really progress that much, or years where I don't have a lot of friends and it's just me skating by myself. I'm like, I already did that when I was like 12 or younger, a teenager. I was already able to do that. So I'm like, now it's just like sick if I have people to skate with, and like sick if I don't. And and I can just keep skating because I already was able to do that before.
Like you're okay with being by yourself, and like you can set goals for yourself and like achieve those goals. You don't need to rely on other people.
But I love people. So if anybody wants to skate, feel free. I absolutely love. I think that's the best. Like and I think these last couple of years, I'm like, I love skating with people. It is like so fun, and like people that are better than you, people where you can teach them something, but then they end up being better than you at some other things. So it's just like so sick to learn from people and to skate with people. So yeah.
So I know a lot has changed for you in the past few years, because I know we talked about you being on Team Sapient. And we all saw your video drop and your clips. So yeah, can you talk about that? Like how were you approached? Did you feel like really validated for all your hard work? I'm sure that was a big deal for you. And yeah, how do you feel now?
Oh my God. So this is another very weird one. I think with like skateboarding too, I don't know. I always like think of this too. I feel like every like skater, every person has a way that they like, I guess, love shown. What is that called? I feel like there's like a word for it. Your love language. Your skate love language. Yeah. I feel like everybody has like a skate love language, and like to me, it's like when someone hits me up to skate street, or when someone will come and like rub brick I don't know, rub bricks a ledge with me at night, or someone that will skate in the winter with me. That's like my skate love language. Like when somebody hits me up to do that, or like is down to come out on like, and with no expectations, if like the spot sucks and if it's cold or whatever, that's like my
or they like meet you, they like come down from the north side all the way to skate with you on the south side.
That's my skate love language. That's where I feel the most like connected, or someone that will like stick with you and like keep filming until you land something. And like that's like my skate. But I think always and forever, I don't know, I think a lot of like skaters really like getting like hooked up and stuff, or getting like shoes or like free things like that, or like sponsored. And I don't think that's my skate love language, which I always appreciate anybody, shout out anybody who's ever hooked me up and stuff. But it's also kind of like, I'm like, that's cool, but it's also like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't, that's like sick, but that's not my love language, right. I guess.
Like you don't skate for that.
Yeah. And I'm even like a sponsorship too. I think like I grew up on like Marissa, like I said again, and like, and I love their skating, and I'm like, these are the skaters that I feel like I want to see sponsored. And like my skating, I do back my skating because I've just done it for so long and I love it, but I don't think I'm like, that's not my goal, you know, to be like sponsored or to like, that's not where I feel like I fit into like skateboarding or I identify, you know. I'm not going to do like the craziest tricks, but I am going to work really hard and probably like work longer than most people that are going to give up on a trick. Like I'm still here and I'm like, I know that I'm not a fast learner, but I'm like happy that I'm going to like I don't know, I care about skateboarding and I like am not very good, but I will work hard. Like and I know that's where I am and what I bring, but in terms of like feeling like sponsored or things like that, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe if I put like my clips out and inspire somebody to be like, I could do that better or something. But it's just like, I'm like, now I've gotten better at like putting out clips in the last couple of years because I'm just like, you know, you give something to people when you put something out, whether they like it or they don't like it, I think will like either motivate them to like, I can get that better, or maybe someone that's not as good as me will be like, yeah, I can, that's attainable, I can like land that. But and then how the Sapien thing came along, I think Will just approached me. Will is the owner of Sapien, and he just asked to check out and try out one of his boards that he makes. And I'm like, sure, I'm down. I'm like, I'm probably the worst person for this because I like don't know anything about concave or anything. If I get a new deck, I'll just get used to it. Like I'm not like, I don't know. I don't notice those things sometimes. But yeah, he gave me a board. I checked it out, and then I filmed like some clips with him and his friend Justin. And it was like fun, and they're great, nice people. So we just put that out. But I don't even know if I really am on the team.
It's so funny. You're like, I don't know, I guess.
I'm like, they're giving me boards, which is sick and which is nice. And like I said, I love skating with people, and filming is cool. So I don't know, I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, it was so exciting to see you in that clip because like you were skating with all these dudes, and then like there's Marlen, of course, the best.
I'm in there.
In there. Yeah, you're in the mix. And I think that inspired a lot of us, you know, that know you and that skate with you and know about like your progress in skateboarding. So it was really uplifting to see you there.
Oh, sick. Yeah. Thank you. And I hope I'm not trying to tell people what to think, but I feel like they could take away that it's important to be in the mix, you know, to like not say no sometimes to like maybe situations where you're like, oh, I don't know them too well, you know, but it just give it a shot and just see what happens, and just try to stay open with skateboarding. And then also like skating with people that are better than you sometimes can be like intimidating, but it's also like I don't know, it's like cool to be around good skating, and like you're a skater too, so just like get out there and just try to. Sometimes like I'll skate with people that are better than me, and we'll go to a spot and I like cannot skate that spot, but I'll like skate flat ground near it. And even being around that energy of seeing someone skating something crazy will like hype me up and like want me to will make me want to skate like faster or pop harder. I don't know. So yes, don't deny yourself of those experiences, even if they're a little like intimidating.
Yeah, I do remember we had a conversation. You were mentioning that like you like if people ask you to skate and if you don't know them, like just give it a try and skate with these people, because you never know what you'll learn or what
what you can get. But also my other PSA is like sometimes it's not super easy, and I understand sometimes the hesitancy of like even like being a woman and like sometimes having to be on guard sometimes. So I always like, I think that's just an experience like female presenting or women like have to deal with. Just this one time I was skating with my friend Karina, and then just like someone yells out on the street, and I feel like Karina was a little standoffish, but I'm like, of course there's a lot of like people that harass female presenting people on the street, so it's just like important to, I don't know,
just be aware of your surroundings.
Be aware of your surroundings, and also just I get it too, you know, like not to be too hard on yourself for sometimes like not being open to every situation, because
and also, were your parents supportive of the hobby?
Absolutely not. I think my dad was just kind of like whatever. I think I had a lot of like pushback from my mom, just like in terms of like me like getting hurt, but it was just terrible because I feel like my mom didn't really like have a lot of like references to like skateboarding, and also seeing that it was like male dominated, she didn't want me to like skating with a bunch of guys, and that was that. And then her to like seeing me like fall, and like I don't know, it was just a lot of arguments, and it was just like not a very like fun, it was just like for real insane arguments about like skating all like constantly as I was growing up. I was like 12 when I started skating, so it was like difficult because I had like not that much support at home, and then I felt like I didn't have that much support from like the skate community, and then it just totally felt like I was just trying to like figure it out like on my own. So yeah, it was like very difficult. My brother somewhat, I mean, he did show me how to ollie and stuff, but I think he also wanted to live his own like skateboarding like life apart from his little sister, which is understandable, but it's also it sucked.
Does he still skate now?
He'll skate once in a while. Yeah. I think he like takes it as like he says it's like my cardio. Like at the gym, I won't do my cardio. I'll go and skate.
Yeah.
And he's still better than me, but he just doesn't like take it that seriously, which is cool. But it's good that he's still on the board. And then he taught me what like a lot about skateboarding. We didn't skate that much together, but I think just from me observing him and seeing him, I think I learned a lot of like what I liked in skateboarding, just like the proximity to it, I guess.
And so are your parents, have they grown to like accept this hobby of yours, or now it's just like I don't even care?
Now they're like, you're too old to skateboard.
They say that? Now they say you're too old?
It will never be, but that's okay. I've made like peace with it.
Yeah.
But then I could totally be like, I made this is my own thing, and I like it because I like it, not because of like all the with the hype and stuff and the connections is like nice. But then I truly, this is like my thing. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't important, I would have like dropped it. Yeah. But now I think I'm in like in a good place, having like gone through all of that. Now I'm in like a great place where I feel like I can share my skateboarding with like different people and like be more open. But I think it's because I went through all of that before that now I'm just like, and that's pretty sick that I'm like making these connections with like people now. But I'm like, I'll be cool if this doesn't, like if these connections aren't there anymore tomorrow, like I'm still gonna like keep skateboarding, like into like it being older and irrelevance. Like that's cool. I'm gonna keep skating because I like to do it.
Right.
So,
you're still gonna be here. You're not going anywhere.
I'm gonna keep skating.
You're gonna be doing you.
But also I'm also been trying to look at other things in skateboarding that are like interesting. I always loved videos, so I'm trying to like be a better filmer, and now even like uncovering that instead of just saying I want to film, actually filming, I'm just like, damn, this shit is hard. It's just like,
can you talk a little bit more about that, like how, like what camera did you start filming with? Because I don't know too much about film, and I think it's great that you've invested so much of your time in like learning about film.
I'm still at the very edge of like learning, but I'm at the very edge looking into the ocean and seeing that it is huge, that there's like a lot of like things that go into like filming. But I bought a camera in 2015 with the intention of that I was going to make a video and that it was just going to happen because I'm a skateboarder and I have a camera. So it's just going to manifest. It's just all going to come together.
It will. And it has, right? It has.
But I think that's really how I go into a lot of things. Just when I started skating, I'm like, I am just going to have a skate crew and it's all going to fall into my lap and we're going to go on these skate trips to Spain and we're going to like, it's just going to be so fun. And sometimes I'm like, it's a little bit more, but I think it does end up happening if you really care about something. You know, if it doesn't happen in that year, maybe it will happen in 9 years. But But like, yeah, I had that idea. I bought, not knowing which camera I should buy, I bought a Canon XA10. It was like an HD camera at the time that had an external mic. I'm like, that sounds fancy. And like it had a little handle, the camera. So I was just like, cool, you know, for filming. But I had no idea what I was doing. I just like bought it, and then I thought I was going to film people, and it was just kind of really hard to film people. And I would just cold contact people on Instagram, like, yo.
Yeah, so I've never filmed with those cameras. Like, I feel like I'd have to kind of train myself to like hover down and like hold the camera and skate at the same time. Like, how was that for you? Because that's a whole skill.
I'm still figuring it out. It's a lot. I think people just keep filming, and I also cut myself a little slack because some people have been filming since they were like 14 and then went to like school like for filming and then have just all these years of doing it, and I really haven't. So, but I'm also I'm learning, you know, and I think like now I'm just like, even that, what you said, like squatting down and like filming with like a fisheye and just making sure that the person is in frame. I think you develop like a sixth sense for that, and like knowing that you can point the camera and knowing that how far, you know what I mean, and like that the confidence to have like this person in frame. I think that just comes with like time, you know what I mean. But yeah, there's a lot to skate filming, and also like figuring out how you're gonna film like this line, and like figuring out how to make the spot look cool, or like where you should start, just like all these things,
all the different
and I think like you get that from experience, but sometimes I see filmers getting to like the spot and just like still figuring out how am I gonna like film this, you know what I mean. And also like filming with like different people that skate, it's like having that like communication with the person that you're filming, and like I don't know, because it's all very personal. I feel like
becomes like a visual language too, right?
Of like and also just being down for that person, because sometimes getting like a trick can be really like stressful and
you have
stuff.
to be patient as a filmer too, right?
Being patient as a filmer, and then I don't know. It's a lot goes into it. And there's that once you actually start filming, but even like figuring it out before you film, of like even meeting up with that person and like getting to a spot where you won't get kicked out, or knowing at what time you should go film that spot. And then there's all the emotional shit that goes on with like the filmer. Like is it a good day for them? Are they ready to try this trick or not? You know what I mean? Is that spot working? Maybe that particular trick is not working out that day. So like it's good to have like a backup of like another spot you can hit that's close, so you don't waste that day. But I'm also like DMing a lot of filmers and asking like, what lens did you use? How did you film that? What light did you use? Just like questions like that. But at the end of the day, you just gotta go out and try and do it, and maybe like fuck it up a couple times.
You just learn from the mistakes.
But it's just like skating too. Like you could ask like 4 people like how to ollie, but at the end of the day, it's like you are gonna have to just keep trying it and like keep not landing it for a while, and then, you know, it helps to ask people, but I feel like at the end of the day, it's just like you going out and doing it.
So I know that you were filming a lot too while you were injured.
Oh yeah.
So talk about, because I know we talked about you've been injured before. And so tell us like, what do you do when you're injured? Like, what other hobbies do you have when you can't skate? And like maybe about like your worst injury, or like, is it something that you know you're gonna get injured like once a summer, or like how do you go about that? Because I recently got injured and I felt like it was forever.
I mean, I haven't broken anything, like, knock on wood, but I haven't, but I've rolled stuff for sure, and it's just part of the game. It's just like, kind of like you're in shock when it happens, but then you're just like, well, we're just gonna have to figure it out, like going to work like that with like a foot. And like all of my jobs, I've had to like walk a lot, so I've just like putting something, wrapping your foot, icing it, and I haven't been the best with my body, but I just know the process, that it's going to take a while. But luckily, I do have a lot of interests. I'm very interested in a lot of things. I know like my deep dive is always going to be like skateboarding is going to be like the thing that I'm most interested in. But I think I have so many things that I think are like cool, and a lot of friends. Like skateboarding attracts so many different types of people, and a lot of skaters have other hobbies, which is like music, or they paint, or they're like, I don't know, they're into like all this like weird stuff, weird cool stuff. So sometimes I do stuff with like friends, like go to like their shows or go to like their art shows. And
who would you say that are skaters that you skate with that you look up to? Because I know we talked about skating with people who are better than you. Like, who would you say are like people that you have their back, like they're genuinely good people outside of skating?
Oh my God. So many. There's so many people. And I want to like shout out Sophie, because I met Sophie in like 2010. And she was always really fucking nice and really fucking good at skateboarding and like really funny. And I don't know. Just like Sophie has done tricks to this day that I can't do. And I feel like they kind of like stopped skating for a little bit, and I still can't do like half of the things that they were able to do back then. I met her at the Little Village Park, and I remember her kickflipping that 5-stair. I think they had fakie trays, and I think they had like a lot of switch tricks too. So I don't know, the trick choice was always like really good, and then like how hard they worked at tricks too was like really sick. So I don't know, Sophie is sick. I haven't skated with Sophie, but Sophie's definitely someone I've always like respected. A good person, a good skater from the South Side. So I don't know, she's sick. Recently I've like met a bunch of people. Karina I've met recently. Karina is fucking sick. Very like hard worker, like very creative too with like skating. Very down to go out and like scout for like spots. Oh God, there's just like so many people. Who else? Janet. There's just like so many people. That Naomi too. Naomi's like a young one I met that recently moved here, but has really, really good style, like natural talent, like learns things like really fast, very like fun to hang out with, like I don't know. So there's just so many people that I'm meeting that are like really fucking like, and I'm like, where have you been? Why haven't we met? But yeah, it's sick. So
nice. And what's a trick that you're currently working on?
Oh my God, today, what am I even working on today?
Or like what are you? Yeah, what's something that you haven't got that you're like, oh, I'm working on that, or I've been working on that for a while.
There's so many things. I think I kind of stopped trying to do like the kickflip from board that I really want to get. Now I'm trying to figure out how to like 360. Anyway, like fakie 360, regular front 3, back 3. I'm just trying to learn how to like, it's so hard because I always do 180s and I'm like, I don't want to do 180s anymore. I want a 360, but I just like cannot. I'll get like to the 270, but I can't whip the rest of the way. But I feel like it's just one that I just have to keep trying it, and hopefully eventually it'll work out. But it's very, very annoying, and I really want that.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if I could 360 the things that I've been 180ing.
Yes.
That would be nuts. So I don't know. But every hard trick is like worth it, because then you have it. You have the trick, and then you could just do it. Into things, into a bank, like off of something, down a stair, flat ground, like no matter what context you put a 360 in, it's gonna look cool. Like
yeah. And so because you're really comfortable with everything, right? Ledges, flat,
false. I like false. I'm never comfortable. That's like sounds. But I'm like, I don't think I have like I'm like a clumsy person. And even though I've been skating for 20 years, I don't think I have like the crazy board control where everything just feels easy. I feel like for everything, I feel like I have to work really hard for. But I think my gift is that I'll keep trying it until like I get it. But yeah, ledges are hard for me. I'm just like ledges. I'm like, fuck, I suck at ledges. But I really want to be a ledge skater because like Chicago has so many ledges.
Yes, Chicago is big for ledges. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think now I'm like trying to like get more comfortable at a skate park or like enjoying the skate park because I'm like, fuck, I don't want to skate a park. But like
What is it about a park that you don't like?
Because I feel so constricted. I like feel like I'm like trapped there, and I just like feel like I have like nowhere to go. And then sometimes when I'm trying a trick, I like to like try it going so slow and to go up to a trick like or to a obstacle like 20 times going like 0 miles per hour before I try it. And I feel like if anybody else is trying something or trying to do a line, it'll like throw me off, and I'm like, no, not right now. I'm like concentrating. Like I'm trying to work up the courage to like land, like get to this thing. So like that sometimes like throws me off. I don't feel even though you could get creative and so many cool amazing things have been landed at parks, I just don't feel creative at a park because I'm this is gonna be here tomorrow or something. Like that's how I feel. So I don't know, there's just like a lot that I like really don't
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like there's more pressure to land the trick in like a street spot where there's like different factors that play in, whereas at a park you're like, I'll just come back tomorrow.
I need that excitement. I need that like pressure. I need that like being outside. Like I need, and sometimes I like when a spot, sometimes downtown will be annoying because there's like a lot of people walking, but like sometimes I'll like a crusty spot where there's like nobody's gonna be there and you can just keep going at the trick. I don't know, there's something about that like I really like. But I do want to because I don't know, I skate a lot of street, but I'm like, dude, I'm just doing the same tricks at like different spots. Like I want to do harder, different tricks. And I feel like the key is to being able to like learn a bunch of shit at the park where the ledge is like perfect and like a lot of other factors are controlled. But I'm trying. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at skating like Clemente and Throop. I'll like, just that's more, it's street, but it's more controlled. It's somewhat kind of like a park. I don't know.
Right. It's like gray area park.
It's like chill. But yeah, I'm like trying to figure that out.
And what was a trick that took you the longest to get locked down? Yeah.
Oh my God. Honestly, I think it's like a 50 because the kickflip took me a while, but it took me a while, but I felt like I kept getting closer and closer. I think like 50s to this day, I'm not a 50er. I think everybody's a 50er, but I just like don't. Something about that shifty that you have to do of like popping up and just like shifting, like that is very hard for me. And like my brain, I just like can't seem to unlock that very well. I could do them, but I just like, if I don't do them for a while, I'll like even forget how to do that motion. And I'm like, what?
It's like backwards language, like you have to go back.
Yeah, you just have to get on top of the obstacle and kind of like shift it so that you like land on like the 50. And what I do is like go at a crazy angle, like a super crazy angle. So I like that makes that shifty makes more sense to me. But I'm like, this is not the right way to do it, but that's what I can do. But I really want to get good at ledges. And I don't want to give up on the 50. I mean, I could do it, but not, I feel like, the right way.
Yeah. And a question I had was like, how do you deal with competition? Like, are you a competitive person? Like, have you gone into, because I know Chicago, like the competitions that we have are mostly for men. Yeah. And so I feel like now there's starting to be competition for women. Are you a competitive person?
No, I am absolutely not a competitive person. No, I do terrible in competition. One, I don't like actual competitions, but also competitive. Sometimes it's fun to be competitive with your friend, where I'm like, damn, I hope you don't land that or something when we're trying like the same trick. And then like some of that I kind of like enjoy with like my very close friends, but I think I'm not really a competitive person. But I do like being around people that are just like slightly better than me, that I know that like I could probably do the trick that they're doing, so it'll like motivate me to like want to do it. So I kind of like being in that, like being around people that are like slightly better than me, where I feel like shit is attainable, and it like gives me a little bit more like, I don't know, drive to like land that trick. But I guess just because I've been skating so long and I've seen people that started skating like 7 months ago when they could already do all the tricks that I can do. So I'm just like, that's all right. Like, that's just like, and then you also see people that are really, really, really good and so much better than you, and then they just like quit skateboarding, and you're still skating. So I don't know. I don't think I get that competitive. But I do like to observe people that are better than me and seeing what I can get or what I can learn out of that. But yeah, everybody's gonna do well. Everybody.
Yeah. So if there were like more competitions, you wouldn't get in. Like,
no, I don't. Like, what's the point? I'm like, no, not that there's no point. Like, I know competitions can be fun, but I just don't think like they're for me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure too. Like, I feel like I would get really nervous.
But it's also like I want to film. I don't know. My thing is like I want to film this like clip at a spot and just like have that moment for forever where I could like look at that clip like 30 years ago later and be like, damn, I really did that shit. Like that's I think the thing that I like want like some, and like that other like, oh, you're like the best today. I'm just like, so who cares? I won't be tomorrow, or I don't know.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to your 14-year-old self?
I think I did everything I could do.
Don't worry about everything. You're going to do everything.
I'm like, you're going to do it, girl. Like, don't worry about it. I think maybe in my, like, maybe right after college or right before, I think I was, like, just kind of, like, settled and, like, this is what happened in skateboarding and this is, like, all, like, there is, I felt like. But I don't know. It's just, like, crazy because, like, all of this like women in skateboarding, all these opportunities just like opened up. Like I felt like out of nowhere, you know what I mean? Because I already had been doing it for so long. So it's like you never really know, and that shit is kind of like out of like your reach because you could be doing all of the right things. Like you could be like skateboarding and talking to people, but that happened with women in skateboarding just seemed like almost, I don't know, I had no control over it, and it just like happened. But also I would like tell myself, I guess, when I was like 14, that I don't know, that like there's more to like skateboarding. I don't know. It's like hard to like pinpoint when I like started to like settle and be like, this is it. And then when I met a couple of like my friends and we started skating together, I think a whole world of possibility opened up, and we did go on a skate trip to San Francisco, and I'm like, what? This is like my dream, and like I'm doing it, and I did it. And it, almost like after that, I was like, nobody can take this away from me. I already did what I always wanted to do, and in San Francisco, and I fucking love San Francisco.
Talk about that, like. Because I've been to San Francisco and like, yo, people bomb hills out there. Like, it's crazy. How was it out there?
It was a magical time. It was like 2017, and I like started talking to my friend that was like a little younger than me, and my other friend like Marlen. Like we all became friends, I think, because everybody was going through a breakup. So we all just like kind of like, oh, let's skate every day because we're going through it. I think they were. I think I wasn't going through a breakup at the time, but we started skating like every single day, and we just like all clicked, and it was just like such a magical, sad but like angry, but we have something to prove time in our lives. So we all skated like really, really hard for like a year or two, and then we just started believing that anything was possible because we were skating together and we were landing tricks. Like I landed tricks I never thought that I would ever land, and I started getting better, and I was just like, what the fuck, like this is crazy. And before 2017, I didn't have a single clip of me like skateboarding. There was no clip of, like, I never filmed myself. I didn't think that was possible, but in 2017 my friends started filming us and putting us on like the internet, and I was just like, what, like this is possible. And we decided to go on a skate trip, and it was really hard because we all had shitty jobs. Maybe still do, I do, but we all had shitty jobs, and I think I started doing like food delivery stuff to help pay for like my trip. And like we all kind of like pitched in. We got a hotel, and it was like 6 of us like skating in San Francisco, and it was like very hard to get there and to schedule it that like so that we all made it there, but we did, and it was sick. And we made friends with like 2 girls there that were really fucking cool, and we did it. I'm like, I can't believe we did it, but we did. So I don't know, that was like my dream come true, and I was like, nobody can take this away from me. And I think that was like, I don't know, not that like I settled after that point, but it was just kind of like, you see there, you know, things can happen, you know, and there's so much more out there, and that I don't have to like just settle for like this is it and it's all there has to be. You know what I mean?
So how did you feel? Because I feel like I felt the same way when I went skating in Mexico City, and I came back really pumped.
Yeah.
So like, how did you feel coming back to Chicago, like knowing like, you know, this is my city, like you're from here, like, you know, how was that experience? How was that like?
I don't know, like the trip was sick in the sense of like we did it, we went on a skate trip, but nothing's ever like super magical easy, because Zez had rolled her ankle right before we went on the trip, and we were supposed to get all these like San Francisco clips, and then my friend Marlena was like sick with a rash. And then I think everybody wanted to do like tourist stuff, and we were kind of like, no, we want to film, this is a skate trip, but it's also they pay the money to get there, and we can't like, no, this is like we have to do this. So yeah, a lot of it didn't go like quite as planned, and I had never been on a skate trip, so I like imagined getting like all these like crazy clips. I'm ready, I'm well rested, like I don't have to worry about working, all I have to do is like skate on this trip. But like skateboarding's hard, and your body gets sore, and sometimes you don't end up getting like the clips,
and you need rest, like,
and you need rest. You think you're gonna be there for 3 days just skateboarding and stack, but that was not the case. I was just like, damn, this is like crazy. But I'm still glad we did it. So it wasn't like super and it was cool that there was like a lot of people that were like skating there, and the scene was like pretty sick. But when we got back to Chicago, I don't know, we're going to keep skating, and we have more time to skate versus like 3 days of just like skating. So I don't know. Yeah, I love Chicago. Like I could go on trips and have fun, but I'm like, Chicago is where it's at least for me.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? Yeah, do you usually skate like just Chicagoland area? Do you like to go up north to like Wisconsin? Like,
oh yeah,
what's that like?
It's always fun to go to another city because you haven't like been there or drove through those streets to just like check out what it looks like. And even like Milwaukee is sick because Chicago is so flat. Like Milwaukee will have some weird pockets that are like slanted or like weird, so that's always interesting to skate. In terms of like trips, you need a lot of money to go on trips, but it's also kind of like hard sometimes if you don't know anybody in that city to try and figure it out yourself. But you can. It's not impossible. But yeah, a skate trip hasn't happened, but I would be down to go. Maybe a little later. I kind of want to get at least this video done before plan anything else, because I feel like there's so much here. I feel like that can happen, and like I almost feel like there's not enough time to like film the shit I want to film here. So like trying to put another trip on top of that is like
it's a lot of logistics and planning. And so can you tell us about your video? Like what's the theme? Like what are you filming? Is it like just tell us about it.
It's very loose. Like it's very loose, and that's like good that we're like keeping it that way. But I think me and my friend Karina and my friend Naomi and my friend Jen, I think, are all down to like film. And my friend Violet said they were down too. So I think it's all of us kind of like know, and we're just gonna try and like film ourselves skating street, and I don't know, we'll like figure it out. I don't want to be like I don't know, it's our video, so I just think, and we talked about it, and I think it would be sick if everybody like picked their own song, help to edit like their clips and stuff. I definitely don't want to be, because I know how important your clips are. You know what I mean? And I don't want it to just be like my vision of like what. Of course, I'm gonna edit my stuff, but I feel like everybody else. And then it's also like no pressure. If someone wants to film a full part, sick. If someone just wants to have 3 or 4 clips in it, that's cool too. If someone filmed the whole part but they don't like any of it and only want to keep 2 clips, that's cool too. Like I don't know, just like people having like control over their skating. Yeah.
And two last questions. Like what keeps you going in skating? Like who pumps you up, or how do you like set goals for yourself in skating? Because skating is like very much like a not a lonely sport, but like nobody sets like goals for you, or like it's not like soccer where like you have to like get the ball and like to the goalie or whatever. But how do you set goals for yourself, or how do you keep yourself like disciplined in the sport to get, you know, better?
I'm not a very disciplined person or athletic, so I think for me, it's always been about, I think these last couple of years I learned how to do this is like to stay open to like new experiences and to stay open to tricks and stuff, because a lot of the times people will skate something I don't really want to skate, but just going out with them and like staying open and like trying hard at the spot and not being an asshole and being like, oh, I don't like this, you know. Sometimes I will show up in my slippers and like not skate, but I think for the most part, if someone wants to skate even like a quarter, which I don't really like skating transition, I'll try to learn something on it, and then that will help me. And like what I found out too, it was so obvious, but I'm like, there are street spots that look like quarters, or if I learn something there, I can like take it and like know how to do something at this spot. So I think having those experiences where I push myself a little bit out of my comfort zone will lead to like something really fun and enjoyable after. So just like even showing up at that like quarter and like learning how to like front rock, I'm like, oh shit, this shit's kind of harder than I thought it would be, and just like being like, oh okay, humbling myself a little bit, and then going to a street spot and then trying like that same trick, or trying that trick maybe with a variation after. I think that's what keeps me like excited. So it's always like that component of like staying open, being out of my comfort zone. Sometimes that little discomfort, I think, can lead to like a moment of like joy or like interest, and like help it like stay alive, because sometimes it doesn't feel that way if you just show up and you just do the same trick you already know how to do, you know what I mean, and just like skate with like the same people doing the same trick at the same spot. Like that could get boring, and it's just like and I'm just being open to things and humbling yourself and trying tricks that are like hard, getting a little bit out of your comfort zone, I think just like keeps me going and keeps me interested and keeps it alive for me. And also not being very good. Like when you're not good, there's always something you could learn.
It's like endless, right? You keep learning every day. I wanted to talk a little bit about how it is for you, because I know I also live in the Southwest side and you live in the South side. But how was it, that experience of like going up north or going like in other areas to go skate, and then like having to come back down south? Because I know a lot of the friends that I skate with live up north, and I always kind of drag them to come down south, because like we have some good parks down south in La Villita. But yeah, like growing up, like I know you talked to me about like you skated in Berwyn, because you lived in Berwyn for a while, and so I'm sure that informed a lot of like your like the city, like the way that the city is spread out. So how was that for you? Because I know you drive everywhere, and that's great.
I do. I'm always in my old rusty car. I don't know. I think I've always been like that. I've always been all over the place. I don't like staying in like one area, because I like that newness kind of feeling. So I feel like I never get too comfortable in one area where I'm like this. I'm trying to get a little bit more like that, but that's not natural to me. Like, I grew up in Albany Park, and then I didn't start skating until we moved to Berwyn. So that was like the west side. And then, right now I moved to Bucktown for a little, and then I moved to the south side. So I don't know. I just always like been all over the place. So, I don't know. I just like being all over the place. That's great. I like to like check things out. I think even when we were kids too, like we would have family members that live like on the south side, or some that live north. And I know like every weekend we would go like visit them and stuff. And I always like that. Yeah, no, I admire that, because I think like as women or like non-traditional skaters, we tend to go to the same parks, or like we know what parks feel safe, you know, like going to Grand is like, whoa, you know, you have to be careful, there's like a lot of people. But I admire that like you're able to adapt in different like street spaces. I'm like, it's all right. I'm just like, people don't talk to you at one park, they won't talk to you at the next one. It's just like, gonna be like the same. You're like, I don't care, I'm skating. Nice. So I guess the final question would be, like, what do you see yourself doing in 5 years? Like, how do you see your skate progression? Like, what do you plan on for the next 5 years? Oh my God, for sure. I want to finish this like video, like whatever happens with it. I just want to make sure I get my 3 minutes of like edited footage, like that I have creative control over. So that I would love to have like that be like a nice video premiere and like in a space and stuff. So I think that's always like a dream of mine, and I just like want to do it. And think after that's not out of the way, but after I do that, I do want to get better at like filming. So I think that's going to be like a constant that I'm going to want to film and like shoot photos of skating. So just like refining my skills in that, and also get a more serious job.
Yeah. Any skate trips? Like,
yeah, I definitely.
Ideal skate trips?
Yeah, I do want to go on some skate trips. I don't have it mapped out yet. I would love to do like San Francisco or New York again, and Mexico City, because we have family there. So I think those 3 for sure, and then anywhere else, I guess.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah. So yeah,
I'm gotta manifest it.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. I think, thanks for coming. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yes, I haven't been thinking about these final thoughts. I think, thank you for having me. And I think it's like important to talk to people and stuff, and especially people that are underrepresented in skateboarding. Because I think like my whole skateboarding, I knew I was like underrepresented. But I think for the longest, oh my God, I feel like such an asshole like saying this, but the Girls' Ride organization would give me stickers. I'd be like, oh, thank you, but like, I'm just a skater. Like, I am a girl, but you know what I mean? I was just kind of like, oh, I don't want to be lumped into this, like...
Yeah, like, you didn't want to, like, categorize yourself as, suffering,
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm going to be a victim. But I'm like, even though it was hard, and I'm like, I will, like, speak to it, like, for sure. I think I just never wanted to, like, quite, like, be boxed in or something. And I just, like, think... growing up, a lot of people would approach me and like, you should get a skate clip with a skirt, or like try to market me in a way, or like I should do this, and like, and I just was like, no, that's like not, which like no hate to anybody that does or whatever, but I just like, I'm like, nah, this is not me, you know what I mean? And just like always like feeling like, because I was a woman skateboarding or underrepresented, I just like felt like people just wanted to like market my skateboarding, or like have it mean something, you know what I mean? Which I'm like, nah, dog, like I'm good. Like I'm like, I'm lonely, but not that lonely where I'm gonna like fucking do some shit that's like, I'm like, I rather,
out of your comfort zone.
I'm like, I'd rather just like skate like this than have to do some whack shit, you know what I mean? That I feel like, because there's some shit that I feel like people really like eat this shit up, and I'm just like, but I'm not gonna give it to them, because I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. So I think it's important for, especially too now that I feel like people are finding out that they could make money off of like women in skateboarding, and I just like see people coming out of like, you know, I'm like, also I'm like, damn, I remember y'all motherfuckers never cared about women in skating.
I've seen some of your posts about how like, you know, just like clothing brands are like now marketing off of skateboarding,
which they always somewhat have, but now it's just like a rush to do it, and I'm just like, this is just like so wild and insane. And it also wouldn't be like so bad, which if you are like an optimistic person, I can look at it and say like, this is sick, it's gonna reach more women, and it's like people are getting like paid, which is nice, which is awesome. But I think the thing that bothers me is that they don't really care, because they're not really looking at like the skateboarding, or even really like interested in sharing like the stories, or really like care about, you know what I mean? Like, it's like easy to just put a bow on it or a dress and like film like in a sunset and just say this is like, but not doing like the actual like work, I feel like, or even the work of like digging and like looking for like women that are like skateboarding in an interesting way and are like giving something to like the culture. They're not looking at those places. They're just like looking at the very like surface, like, which I don't like that. And I'm just like, that's totally like they're just using, you know, not really caring about, I don't know. It's just like so messed up. And I just don't really, I'm like, I wouldn't rather it be underrepresented, but I'm just like, I don't want that type of, you know what I mean, help, or I don't know, that type of, I don't know. So I think it is important to actually sit down and like talk to people.
Yeah, like share your story, and like from your words.
And that's just to stay open, because I like try to stay open too. Just because I've been skateboarding for a long time doesn't mean like someone that just started like 2 months ago doesn't have something interesting to tell me that's going to make me see skateboarding in a different way. So I'm just like, yeah, being open to like different experiences and like stories, but no on making like profiting off of like something that you don't like care about like so blatantly. I'm just like, yuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is important, and I'm so happy to do this.
Yeah, thanks for being our first guest. We're really excited, so thanks for coming out and like making the time. I know you have a really busy weekend. So.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.